attention, new you, new do. It's the first day of spring, which means spice up your hair with a trendy color, cut, and style. Here to give us inspiration is Jon Reyman, owner of Spoke and Weal in Lakeview. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited for this because everyone wants a new, refreshed look. I think we all deserve that as women. So what trends can we expect to see on the streets of Chicago?
Great. So I think there's a lot of different things happening. Number one, we're seeing that straight hair. The 90s are back, and they're cool, and we love them, and there's a lot of ways in which that translates. So we have a nice bob. I'm going to show you how to flat iron it a little bit, give you a little sense of that. We're going to show you how to do that kind of cool girl wave. I think we're still seeing long hair with lots of movement, some cool color. We've got lots of texture. We're seeing lots of natural hair coming back, and that's been going on the runway for a couple seasons now, and we're still embracing it. We're seeing that curl a little more defined, a little less fluffy, and then we've got the guys with slightly longer hair and a little bit of texture, and I'll show you how to do all that.
This is exciting. What is, before we jump in, and we're about to get going, but what is one thing you think that people make a mistake when they're going to find that new look? Like, how do they make your job harder as the stylist?
Great. So I think sometimes we overdo things, right? We think that a big change needs to be a big change, and sometimes subtlety is really the change. So that's number one. And number two, as a hairstylist, as somebody who's working behind that chair, I want to empower the client. I want to hear what they want to say, but also I need to be able to have the space to kind of talk about how to do things. And sometimes clients are armed with so much information, right? And they've got really strong opinions. Well, don't do this and do this. And sometimes it's a conversation. Well, let's find out why you think that. And I think when we start to collaborate, I think that's usually the best. And if you can't collaborate with your hairdresser, find a different hairdresser.
There you go, collaboration. All right, let's get a look at what our models look like.
All right, great.
These are the new looks that you think we're going to see on the streets of the Chi, huh?
Great, yep. So I think we have this cool bob. Now, the nice thing about the bob is we've got a little bit of texture here. It's not as blunt.
Yes.
So we're seeing that blunt style kind of translate to something a little softer. This color is amazing. I think that rose, that fashion color, it's subtle. It's not overdone. It's a little more muted, so I love that pastel.
It's so different.
Yeah, I think it's cool. And then that flat iron, so we're really seeing that smooth, straight hair. So the idea with this, instead of beveling it under, we want to pull it through, and I'll kind of give you a sense of what that means. I'm just going to grab a section here, and I'm just going to pull this through, and instead of giving it a little bend, I'm going to actually pull it out a little bit, so that way that hair falls a little straighter and not so bent down, right? We want to see those ends.
Don't necessarily think about it so much. Don't be so deliberate with it.
Exactly. And with that, make sure you're pulling through instead of rounding it out, because we don't want that bubble mushroom.
No bubble mushroom.
No bubble mushroom.
That's not in right now.
It's not cool. Not cool. Straight and smooth.
Let's take a look at our second model here.
All right, cool. So I think with curl, and I think what's happening, I think in Chicago as well, is this idea of not overdone curl. We don't want it too set, too pretty. We want it sort of that cool girl done without being overdone.
Well said.
Thank you. All right, I'll take it. So here, what we did was we preset her hair, and what we're using is a flat iron to create that curl.
There we go.
So first thing you want to do is kind of prep it with some spray to help it set. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to do an S-bend. Now, when using a flat iron, make sure you're using high heat and really setting with a good flat iron so it works well. Your tools are important.
Okay.
And then the technique on top of that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bend this through.
Oh, wow.
Right, just like that, a nice soft wave. Now, we saw for a little while the ends being left out, and sometimes people kind of overdid that. So I don't mind just kind of pulling a little bit through there just to get that finish. And you'll notice she has that nice bend. It's done without being overdone.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. That looks good. You look good, girl.
She does look good. I like it.
Okay.
All right, cool. So texture, man, I love texture.
Don't we all?
And you know, there's been moments on this runway the last few seasons where we're just seeing girls being girls, and their curl is out. It's good. We love that. Not overdone, but set. But the 90s are back. So we want to see that a little more defined. And so what we did was we set the hair with some emollient, and then what we did is when diffusing, sometimes people with texture, they make the mistake where they kind of go in and out with the blow dryer, and what happens is it elongates the curl and then sets the curl and elongates it. Best thing to do, high heat, medium blower, really just press that in and really cook it up. And then when it's done, if you've got the right products, then you can start to mess around with it, pull it out, add some oils.
Okay. I don't want to rush you.
Okay, we're done.
We got that last guy. All right. We got to get out of here. One thing about this guy's hairstyle, what do guys need to know?
Okay, so I think that really tight barber look, a little down, and now we're on a little bit more with some texture. So we want it to be done without being overdone.
There you go.
So here I'm putting a little cream in, a little something, grow it out, let it be a little looser. but don't let it be too fluffy.
Okay, well, John, thank you so much.
You're
Guys
welcome.
need a little help too.
Yeah,
They need a little
bit.
schmoozing too. All right, so thank you so much, John. Spoke and Weal is located in Lakeview. Stop by and meet John and his amazing team.